So I'm very introverted, but I still make over $40,000 per month in high ticket sales, literally being on my laptop and talking to people all day long. You would think someone who's an introvert would suck at this, would be absolute dog shit at sales. So that's what most people think overall. They think that sales is only for extroverts. After being in this space myself for multiple years, at this point, almost 4 years I've been in high ticket sales, I keep seeing this pattern where the people that do the best in high ticket sales are not extroverts. They're actually not even extroverted whatsoever. They're very, very introverted. And there's one very specific reason for this I'm going to share with you in this video. I want to share with you my story of how I realized this, the biggest challenge that I went through, like mentally in terms of my mindset that I had to change to actually succeed in high ticket sales and make the money I make right now. And why, maybe you as an introvert watching this video, why you will do extremely well in high ticket sales. Because what defines an introvert versus an extrovert? An introverted person, they go like non-verbal in like big groups of people, you know? But when they talk to like one person, they like talking to one person, having a deep and in-depth conversation. What do you do in high ticket sales? You hop on 3 to maybe 5 sales calls per day on your laptop, talking to someone who's already interested in buying a product. You run for a conversation, dig deep into their goals, where they're at in their life right now, see if you can actually help them out, and then walk them through the solution and help them overcome and break any limiting beliefs. You're having deep conversations. That is why introverts absolutely crush in high ticket sales. Because unlike extroverts who just have a lot of connections that are kind of shallow, introverts prefer going deep with one person, and that's what high ticket sales is. And this is why extroverts, on the other hand, actually struggle. It's the opposite of what most people think. You might think that, okay, introverts are going to struggle and extroverts are going to do better. It's the opposite. Because extroverts, they get into high ticket sales, they hop on a call, and they're just like all over the place, just like japping and like very shallow conversations, not really going deep with people. Because that's how they're used to doing stuff in their life. And they struggle closing deals because they never actually get deep with the person, never actually get to the core of like their pain or their goals or their limiting beliefs, etc. Because they're not used to doing that. And I'm not saying that an extrovert cannot succeed in high ticket sales. For sure you can. And I see this all the time, like extroverts definitely do well, but it comes with unlearning like how you naturally speak and who you are as a person. Whereas introverts already have this ability naturally. So this has been the case for me, like literally this is the reason why I started high ticket sales. Because when I was new in high ticket sales and I started off my journey in entrepreneurship overall, I was extremely bad at communication. I sucked. I was very insecure, very nervous and very shy overall as a kid growing up. And I think this is why I got into high ticket sales, because I was shy, I was bad at communicating, and didn't really get people to listen to me and things like that. And that's what drove me. I remember when I was gonna pick which business model to get into, and I was gonna pick between marketing and sales and some other things. I picked sales because it was my weakness. It was something that I was extremely bad at, communication. That's what drove me to get into this industry. And I think that's been one of my biggest like driving forces to get to the point where I'm at right now. Is I just have this deep desire to get extremely good at what used to be my biggest weakness. And that's driven, like giving me the, what's it called, like the why, the drive to go through this entire like journey of all the challenges that I struggled with and all the things that I was super bad at. Because like, if you listen to my first sales call, I'm gonna show it at some point on the channel. It was absolute dog shit. My first sales call, I was super nervous, super uncertain. You can hear my voice. I was so like just scared to be on the call. I could not lead someone for the life of me. If you listen to my calls right now, with the money I'm making right now and like the calls I'm taking, I'm closing over 60% of people I talk to consistently, because I have a lot of conviction, a lot of confidence. That's why I speak like I speak right now in these videos, because I've built up my communication skills. I've learned how to communicate. How have I done that? It's because I sucked at it. I had this negative and like dark motivation because I sucked, like actually sucked. I was so insecure. I would just be like constantly like overthinking when I was talking. I remember like in school and like when I was growing up, always just like super bad at communicating. I sucked at like telling stories, getting people to like listen to what I was saying. That was my big weakness. That's why I got into high ticket sales. That's why I got into sales. And that's why I was so focused on this one skill to get really good at it, so that I could kind of disprove that old version of me. And now literally I make more than most people make in a year with like per month with the skill that used to be my weakness. So if that doesn't disprove your limited beliefs right now, like I can't do sales, or like I'm too insecure, or I have too strong of an accent, or I'm too introverted, I don't know what will. Because it used to be my biggest weakness, and I just made it into my strength by just focusing on one skill. And that's the beauty of this, because you don't need to be like some crazy salesperson and like naturally extroverted or be super good at talking to learn to get into this. You simply start putting the reps. You simply start practicing and getting the right type of like training to actually learn the skill properly. And then it's gonna become your strength by just doing the reps. And that's what I love about it, because I'm taking my weakness, something that I genuinely was super insecure about, and taking that into my biggest strengths is to become my biggest skill, my biggest asset that allows me to literally make money every single day right now, make thousands of dollars per day, be able to have complete freedom, be able to have confidence, most importantly, that I can actually influence other people. When you learn how to sell, you can influence, you can control your environment to a level that most people cannot do. And that's why I did this. That's why I went into this space. And that's why, if you're an introvert, if you're someone who's insecure, if communication is your weakness right now, then learn that skill. Get into that, because it's going to build you into the person you need to be. And especially if you're a guy, you need to have communication skills. Your ability to influence and persuade other people is what's going to dictate your entire life. People that don't know how to influence and persuade other people, they're running uphill. Like, their life is on hard mode. Us people, you guys that watch my channel and listen to the advice that I give, you have such a massive advantage because you learn the skill of sales. You get an income that's gonna be with you for the rest of your life. You become valuable, but most importantly, you become someone who can actually dictate your surrounding. You can get what you want out of life because you've learned how to persuade other people. Hope this makes sense. Hope this gives you some insights. And yeah, if that's you, if you're like the older version of me, who's like introverted, insecure, and things like that, get into high-tech sales, get into space. I promise you, it's gonna be scary, it's gonna be uncomfortable to do, take that first step, but doing this is gonna change your life completely. If you want my help to do it, you can apply down below to get trained and get placed in roles in high-tech sales by me directly. And if you have any questions, you may DM on Instagram, and I'll see you as always tomorrow in the next video. Take care.